Hello, welcome or welcome back. So please come to sit in a chair. If your chair has a headrest where you can lean back and rest your head would be best, or come to lie on the floor, your carpet, yoga mat, your couch or your bed. Everything is okay. Just find a place where you can be comfortable, at peace and can rest and you're not disturbed for the duration of this lesson. Our first movement is going to be a little hand movement. So in a previous video, a previous lesson, I had this movement of turning the lower arm and the hand was just hanging down. So if you know this video, you can recall it, or we just do it together right now. So hold out your lower arm. Somehow, if you're resting, somehow just hold your lower arm so that the hand can hang, and you will notice when the palm is facing downwards the floor, the fingers are kind of longish and kind of open-ish and kind of separated from each other. And when you turn your lower arm so that the palm faces upwards, if you relax your hand, you will notice that the fingers will kind of curl up and come closer to each other. So observe that happening. Don't try to do it actively, but just relax your hand as good as you can, and then you focus on turning your lower arm and see if that is actually happening. So when your palm is facing downwards and when your palm is facing upwards, it's a different situation for the hand and your fingers. Yeah, so our next movement, please stand your elbow. You can stand your elbow on your armrest or next to you on your bed so that the lower arm is like a pole going up, and let your hand hang here also. And when you let your hand hang, you will notice the fingers will again open and be kind of longish, and then stand your hand, the hand up, up, up. And when you stand your hand, you will notice the fingers will close. Does it today? Just try. If that happens, observe that. And so that's our movement, to let the hand sink and fall over, and then to bring the hand to stand on top, to balance on top of your lower arm. So observe how that is, which fingers separate from each other. If some fingers separate more, for me it's the pointer finger, but maybe for you it's the pinky or some other finger. Which finger tends, so it's a movement but also an observation exercise. What is happening, and allow your lower arm to turn as it needs to turn to accommodate that movement of having the hand sink over. And of course we can get more and more into a very relaxed and calm state. It's not a big work, it's not an observation work, it's to start to get a feeling for the hand and the fingers. And then let's have another little mini game. Lead with one finger. So think of your pointer finger, bring your attention to your pointer finger, and stand or erect or bring up your pointer finger first. So the pointer finger leads the bunch, brings the hand up to stand, and the other fingers follow. So we need to kind of relax to make this really happen. You focus on your pointer finger, or focus on your middle finger. So the middle finger flips up first. The middle finger flips up first and the other fingers follow. How that feels like. how much of a pull there is to bring up the middle finger, and then the middle finger goes down first, and then the ring finger, and last the pinky one, the small one, comes up and down. So you're getting more and more sensitive to the movement of the fingers. You start to have a feeling for the outside edges, left and right of the fingers, where they touch the other fingers. You start to feel where there is movement in your hand and where there isn't. It's kind of an awareness exercise. Please switch to the other hand. So relax. If you were working with your right arm, just relax your right arm and bring your left arm to stand. So you already know what we have to do, what's going to happen. But let's see if the left hand works similarly to the right one. So maybe you can start with turning your lower arm and observe how that rotation, like the very first movement, functions. Because one hand is stronger than the other hand, one hand is more tension than the other hand. And then also bring your left hand to stand on your left lower arm. So you have to stand your left elbow and let your left hand sink over. And bring your left hand to stand. And observe if the fingers are separating nicely or if like two fingers seem to be glued together. And of course, again, let your lower arm turn as much as it's necessary to make this movement of sinking. Like we were talking about the personal neutral in another video. So where is the area, the turn, where do you have to, where's the area where there's the least tension, where you feel the least tension, the least pull to either direction. And then also lead with your fingers. So you lead with your left pointer finger, and then lead with your middle finger. So there's a midline connection. So that's actually the strongest. That's like the most direct connection to your arm and your center. That's the finger where you can pull the strongest. So let your middle finger lead the bunch and lead them also into relaxation, so that the left hand hangs down. And then we have the ring finger. And also your pinky one, the small finger. And of course, there's always room for improvement. So you can play with these movements on their own, actually, whenever you have time or when you think of them. It's nice to relax your hand, and you will notice you already feel more aware in your hands. Like maybe they start already to be a little bit more soft, a little bit more sensitive. You have a more of a concept of the space in between the fingers. And then lean back, take a rest, and interlace your fingers a little bit. You don't have to fully, so there's different depths of interlacing. You can interlace them completely or interlace them a little bit, and rest both hands a little bit interlaced on your belly. Somewhere, again, the personal neutral. Where is the place where it's the easiest for you to rest your hand and have your elbows hanging down? If you're lying down, that your elbows can touch your bed, your mat. Find a alignment, a configuration where this is really comfy and easy, and you can just rest. And then bring your attention to your breathing. So how do you know that you're breathing? Where do you feel your breath? So of course, maybe you can hear the sound of the wind, of the air being sucked into your nose, but maybe you can feel that your chest expands when air enters your lungs and the chest contracts, becomes smaller again when air leaves your lungs, and you can feel that with your hands that are interlaced and resting on your belly. So when you breathe in, you can feel maybe your belly expands a little bit, not much, just a little bit. So your hands are like a duck, a sitting duck, a duck on a lake, and the waves is a metaphor for breathing. So when you breathe in, the duck lifts up a little bit, and when you breathe out, the duck comes down a little bit. So your hands, they move with your why I'm using these kind of images. So your hands are moving with your breath. But you know what I mean. The hands are moving a little bit, just a tiny little bit. Maybe you can feel that. And then start to roll your hands. So when you breathe in, the hands roll a little bit downwards, so the palms show more to your face, but just a tiny little bit. So if I would exaggerate, when I breathe in, the hands would roll down, and when you breathe out, the hands would roll up a little bit, but slowly. Make it so small, somebody who would observe you wouldn't even notice that your hands are rolling. And when you roll your hands, focus on your fingers. And then stop to roll your left hand. Only continue to roll your right hand. So your left hand is resting, and of course they stay interlaced, and your right hand rolls a little bit downwards together with your breath, and back again, or a little bit upwards even. And to be able to do that, you will feel that the fingers are twisting, the fingers are rolling a little bit, and so you can't interlace your hands too strongly, just a little bit, so that there's enough space for the fingers. It's less of a visible thing, so I just exaggerate, but just feel that movement in your right hand, and then rest your right hand and only roll your left hand together with your breath. And we do this kind of constraint. We align the movements up to the breath so that we don't move too fast. So don't breathe more than you, and the more you relax, of course, the more relaxed your breathing is going to be, and your movements start to also be very gentle and slow and nice. And next, roll your hands in different directions. So while you roll your right hand downwards, roll your left hand a little bit upwards, and when you roll your left hand downwards, roll your right hand a little bit upwards. It's like counter direction. So there's even more of a twist. Even though the twist is so small, there's more of a twist. And let your fingers and your palm and your hand and your wrist, let them become softer and softer, and you can feel how the skin, the fingers touch each other, and you can feel a little bit inside it, because we have because for us it's so easy to feel with the hands. There's so many. The sense of touch is so refined. So when you roll your hands counterclockwise, you can Even if it's very small, you can feel into the fingers, feel into the fingers. And then for a moment, don't do anything, just relax. Feel your breath, your in-breath, your out-breath, and then again, roll both hands together just a little bit, up and down, and see how that changed to just a few movements before. How is your feeling? How is your feeling of relaxation and rolling now? So you roll your hands a little bit up and down. You can close your eyes, of course, if you like. Just let yourself be guided by my voice. And then also let go of that, separate your hands and bring your right hand, the palm of your right hand, and you will notice every finger where it meets the palm has this little mountain, and your palm actually has this concave structure that's like a cup. So think about this cup. With your soft hand, bring your right palm on top of your right eye so that the palm seals off like a sleeve your right eye, and let your fingers softly, like a sock or like a towel, come over your forehead and find a position for your hand. So you might need to try that a couple of times. Find a position for your hand so that your right eye is completely covered and sealed off from light by your right hand, by your right palm, to be honest. So if you just place your fingers on top, I see that in classes. Folks manage to just place their fingers on top of their eyes, and then of course the eyes are not sealed off. So it really needs to be the palm that goes, and it's like a sleeve. It really fits well. It's like, it's almost as if it's made for that. So there should be no pressure on the eyeballs. The eyeballs should be free. Even the eyelids should not touch your palm. If your hands are soft and you have like this little cup on top of your right eye, and you could open your eye and there's no light coming into your right eye, a little, just as thick as your hand is. And then do the same thing with the same cupping or covering with your left palm on your left eye. So the fingers need to arrange somehow to make it possible that both palms, the left palm, completely seal off your left eye and the right one, the right eye, and so there's no light. So I call it, or they call it, covering the eyes. And stay like this. Try to relax your arms while you do this as much as possible, so that your eyes are still covered and sealed off from light. So even if you open your eyelids, there should not be any rays of light entering through any little tiny holes. So do you have that? But you can close your eyes and just stay like this. Relax. What is that? Relax. Just without effort, you lie comfortably, you're safe, as much as it's available to you at the moment. And see, so the eyes are covered, but it's not black. It's not completely dark. If it's completely black, then your brain stopped working and you're talking to me from the netherworld, you're not alive anymore. It's not possible to have like a complete black. So there ought to be some phenomenons, some lights, some random discharges of lights, whatever that is. So you could Google that later, it's a big topic. There's a lot to Google why there are lights and what kind of patterns emerge, but there are, maybe it's gray, maybe it's blue, maybe it's yellow, and maybe there's little stars. Just observe what's happening. Later you can research. And let your hands be more and more relaxed, soft, and just, so this, it doesn't make sense what you see, so it doesn't need to make sense. It's just, if your eyes are very strained, they now have a chance to not have to focus, to defocus, to de-strain, to de-stress, to calm down, to not have, you don't have to make sense of what you see now. Normally we need to analyze and be alert and make sense of everything we see and categorize and make decisions, but with this kind of images, you don't have to make sense of them. You just observe. Maybe there's little flashes, little lines, blurry spots. Whatever it is, it's just there, and you relax and keep your eyelids closed, and at some point start to slide your hands down, your arms down, and relax your arms. Just be in your chair or in your bed or wherever you are resting now. Enjoy this short break. And then interlace your hands again. As before, as much as you like, and bring them on your belly again, and notice your breathing and start to roll your hands together with your breath. So when you breathe in, your belly maybe rounds a little bit more, so you roll your hands a little bit up and a little bit down, and play freestyle with the movements we had before. So it's either the right hand that rolls, or it's only the left hand that rolls, or you could roll them counter directional, so the right hand rolls downwards while you roll your left hand upwards, and combine that with your breathing so that you don't roll too fast. Or you can just as you want, so it's up to you. It's your time, it's your me time, your time, my me time. Your time, your me time. You could roll double the speed of your breathing, or triple the speed of your breathing, or half the speed, whatever you come up with. But we will start to challenge this a little bit more. So you're breathing, you're rolling your hands, and at the same time start to lift your right elbow a little bit off, or in a chair forwards, and so you lift your right elbow and you lower your right elbow. And don't let that movement of the elbow disturb your breathing or your hand movements. So even though you're moving your right elbow, you still relax, you still focus on rolling your hands, and you don't hold your breath, you don't clench your jaw. Let's try this with the left elbow. So rest your right elbow again and start to lift your left elbow. And then bring your left elbow down again. And see, did that create any extra tension? And then lift your left elbow again while you're breathing and rolling and you're just relaxing, and then bring your left elbow back down again. And next time lift both elbows up. So it's just a little extra movement to challenge your relaxation. It's like in school. As soon as you have learned a thing, or not even, they give you the next thing. Okay, and then lift both elbows up. Roll your hands together with your breath. And then bring your hands in a little bit of a different position, maybe a little bit further up onto your chest. So your elbows are up and your hands are a little bit further up or a little bit further to the left. So you could bring your hands more towards your left shoulder and try to keep the hands. So that's the challenge, to have the fingers relaxed, that the fingers don't tense up, even though you're suddenly having your hands in a different position, or more over your right shoulder or over your right side. So you keep your hands soft with your breath in. And then also place your hands somewhere on your face. So of course the hands have to be very soft when you put them on your face, because you want to be gentle to yourself. So you roll your hands together with your breath on your lips or over your nose or over your forehead, and then you will notice the orientation of the palms will change. And at some point, bring your hands behind your head. So you rest your head in your interlaced hands. So suddenly there's a lot of pressure on both hands, the weight of your head. And it feels a little bit different. It's a different position. So rest the hands behind your head, if that's available to you, or on top of your head, wherever you can reach, wherever that's still comfy for your shoulders. And then start to roll your hands again counterclockwise, for example, behind your head with the pressure of your head. So your fingers need to especially relax to make for a nice little pillow, a comfy situation. So your wrists need to soften up in this position, because the fingers cannot move that much anymore, so there needs to be more movement in the wrists. You relax your wrists more and more through movement, through finding places where there's tension, where there doesn't have to be tension at all. It's just unnecessary. So you just can let go of that tension wherever you encounter it. And then at some point you can slide your hands down again to your side and just relax your arms and take a break. So that's our second break. Then bring up your soft hands, and with your right hand cover your right eye, And with your left hand, as before, cover your left eye. Again, like a sleeve. Make sure the eyes are completely covered and sealed off from any incoming rays of light. And you can have your eyelids open or closed and see how it is now. How this dark room, this DIY little dark room, what kind of lightning effects you have now. When I did this lesson myself the first time, surprisingly, there was this extremely strong light blue, like almost like my power bank. Like there was no like this kind of blue all over. So I had my eyes covered and it was just like the bluest sky. It was I don't know how this happened. Very beautiful. And then just see what it is like to look without having to make sense of what you see, because the eyes are covered. I'm not sure if there's any information we could possibly retrieve from having the eyes covered. So it's just observing the process of seeing, of how your brain and your eyes and whatever hardware we have here built in, grown, however that works, just observe and most importantly enjoy. Enjoy having covered your eyes and taking that you're so smart and so clever to take this time, this you time, me time, to do this and to rest your eyes in this kind of way and allow yourself to experience that. However foolish it may seem or however meaningful, just experience and be in the moment with your eyes covered and your little visual sensations or your big visual sensations. And then at some point, let go of that again. Slide, you can keep your eyelids closed, slide your hands down over your chest, your belly, onto your sides. Just take a rest. And then again, bring your hands over your belly, interlace your fingers. Feel when you're breathing, and on your in-breath, start to roll downwards your hands, or your right hand if you prefer, or your left hand if you prefer that, whatever comes to your mind, or counter directional. Roll your hands with your breath and see how that is now. Where you put your hands, if you found more of your neutral, where is this neutral place? And then, so you have your legs long, but now stand your right foot. So you stay on your back, just stand your right foot. So the knee is bent, the knee is pointing towards the ceiling, stand your right foot in a place where you can stand your right foot easily, and your left leg is still long, and then start to push with your right foot against the floor a little bit. So we did that in other lessons already. So you push with your right foot onto your floor. So your left side stays on the floor. When you push with your right foot onto the floor, of course, the right side should lift. and nothing else, and the pelvis should roll a little bit towards the left. So that's our movement challenge. While your hands are interlaced, while you roll your hands together with your breath, you're also pushing with your foot against the floor and rolling your pelvis to the left and back again. So you can move your hands over your right hip joint in that area, maybe. That makes more sense. You could bend your left knee a little bit towards the left while you roll your pelvis to the left. So you have this movement of your pelvis and your legs involved. It's a big movement, and even you're doing such a big movement, this should not disturb your breathing, and it should not disturb your rolling of your hands. So do this slow enough so that you don't start to rush, you don't start to have any feelings of stress or pressure. So you're just doing the movements. And if you're in a chair, it's the same thing. You push with your right foot onto the floor, which makes your pelvis roll a little bit to the left. So our main purpose is to involve this large structure, our whole body, and not disturb our relaxation of the hands and the breathing, and you can have your eyes closed. And then let go of that, lengthen your right leg again, and bring your left foot to stand, your left knee towards the ceiling. The hands, of course, still interlaced on your belly, and start to push with your left foot on the floor so that your pelvis rolls to the right. So if that movement is not entirely clear, I have videos just for this movement. I will link them in the description. So if you want to do a lesson just to refine this and to get better at this movement, there's a video for that. So continue, roll your hands while you roll your pelvis to the right, and you can place your hands, it would make sense, more onto your left side while the pelvis is rolling to the right. And back again. So you do this a couple of times until you start to feel, I am really good at this. Until you have the feeling, I can enjoy this. So that's nice. So that's good. And then also lengthen your left leg again. Let go of your arms. So that's our third rest. Your hands are soft. And again, bring your right hand, the palm of your right hand, up onto your right eye, so that the right palm seals off your right eye, and then with your left hand, seal off your left eye. So you cover your eyes. And you breathe and you rest and you see. And there's nothing to see except for all the fun stuff that you see. And maybe your eyes feel more relaxed now. So if you did this lesson because your eyes felt strained, maybe your eyes felt more, maybe your eyes are now more at ease. So it's a very soft focus. You don't squeeze your eyeballs, you don't try to focus anything, it's very soft. Because there's nothing to see except the phenomenons of the process of seeing. Maybe the brain tries to, we are pattern recognition machines, we like to see contrast. Our brain is made for recognizing contrast. So if you see a beautiful night sky, the sky looks black because the stars are white or sparkling, and that's a contrast, and that's why our brain makes this nice black color for us, even though there is no black color, because the brain is alive, you are alive. Seeing is a interactive process. So just enjoy the feeling, the sensation of resting, of becoming more at peace. Close your eyelids behind your palms. Keep your eyes closed and start to slide down your arms again. Keep your eyes closed for a moment. Keep this soft focus, this soft gaze, and slowly start to open your eyes just a little bit, and then you could close your eyelids again. Just let light fall into your eyeballs by opening your eyelids just a tiny little bit and close them again and open them again, but don't focus. Don't try to see anything specific. Just keep your gaze soft, a background gaze, so you can just have like this sensation of colors and light entering your eyes, to observe how light enters your brain, your being actually. And close your eyes again. So we're waking up in a way and going back into this state of rest, and then open again. And next time you open your eyes, do focus. Do look at the ceiling or the sky or the tree, whatever you see in front of you. And then stop focusing and move in and out of this focus. So we can also become better in this kind of process to see. All right, so this was my eye lesson for today. You can sleep now, take a rest, or come up to standing, and when you stand, maybe the world is not the same anymore. If you like this video, please like it, leave a comment, share your experience. I read every comment. I cannot answer everyone, but I read every comment. Other people like to read what you experienced. So we have this community here, and you will have this lesson as study cards for the people who support me on Patreon. So, thank you for watching. Practice in your own speed. Stick with the lesson as long as you like the lesson, as long as you find something interesting in a certain lesson. Don't put pressure on yourself in learning too many lessons. Just move on when you have the feeling it's time to move on to the next lesson. And I'll see you in the next video. And we will start with a couple of movements only with the right hand. Das könnte ein kleines bisschen noch mehr in meine Richtung zeigen. So, jetzt haben wir es.